Okay, ready for a deep dive. Today, we're going to tackle something is maybe a little more universal than we think. Like, it's kind of sneaky. Money shame.
Ooh, money shame.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
You might be thinking, hey, my finances are fine, but this isn't about like being good or bad with money. It's like a whole deeper thing.
I see, I see.
So today, we're really going to unpack how those messages we got about money as kids, way back when, can still be shaping our lives now, even if we're like financially responsible adults.
Right.
And to help us really get into it, we're using excerpts from this book, Childhood Unmet Needs. So we're skipping the surface stuff and going deep, deep, deep.
Oh, I like it. This is going to be good. I bet a lot of our listeners are going to find this one hits home.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the book, it dives right in, introducing us to Sarah. She is the queen of hitting every single savings goal, lives way below her means. The picture of financial responsibility, you think, wow, she's got it made.
Yeah, you'd expect like this sense of security, right? Peace of mind.
Exactly. And here's the thing, Sarah is really unhappy. Like, she can barely enjoy simple things, constantly worried about money, doesn't think she deserves nice things. It's almost like she's punishing herself for having money.
Wow.
And the book mentions how, growing up, she always heard stuff like, money doesn't grow on trees, which, okay, pretty standard, right?
Yeah.
But for her, those messages, they really stuck.
Yeah.
Created this, like, underlying anxiety.
That's the thing about, like you said, that money shame. It's insidious, right? Because it's not always like in your face. Sarah's a perfect example. It's not about how money, but that emotional weight we carry around it. Those early messages, they become beliefs, and sometimes those beliefs, they hold us back, even when we're doing well financially.
Ugh, it's so true. Speaking of baggage, we also meet Lina. Her story, it really resonated with me. She's got that whole budget master thing going on.
Okay.
And, growing up in an immigrant family where saving was everything, that definitely shaped her perspective. Lina's parents, they totally instilled the value of being financially careful, which, great, but
But it came at a cost.
it seems like it, right? So we've got Sarah, the hyper saver, and Lina, the meticulous budgeter. Two different paths, but both wrestling with this, like, undercurrent of money shame. What strikes me is how both of them are driven by this scarcity mindset, this feeling of never enough, even when the numbers tell a different story. So how do we encourage being responsible with money without it tipping into this self-denial, this anxiety that we see with Sarah and Lina? They're both so afraid to actually live a little.
Right. Yeah. It's such a tough spot to be in, right? And, I think that phrase you used, afraid to live a little, that really gets to the heart of it, because the book actually talks about this, like, loss of meaning that can come with being so afraid to spend.
It's really sad when you think about it. The book gives all these examples about Sarah, really paints a picture. Like, she'll agonize over buying a cup of coffee, and it's not like she can't afford it.
Yeah.
Or her clothes. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. She's got this whole make do and mend thing going on to the extreme.
Wow.
Like, her clothes are practically falling apart, and she still feels so guilty about spending money on something new. It's wild.
Yeah, that guilt, it's like a hallmark of money shame, isn't it? It's that feeling that we're not allowed to enjoy what we have, like spending on ourselves is somehow bad.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's like she's stuck. There's this part where her friends invite her on a weekend trip, and she almost said no because of the cost.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? She needs a break. She has the money saved, but that fear is just like ingrained. It really makes you think, how much are we giving up in the name of being good with money? Where's the line?
It's a question we all have to grapple with, right? We praise being frugal, but we don't often talk about the downsides. And the book, it calls out 4 ways this pattern can really be harmful. First, you've got that vicious cycle, right? The unworthiness. Like with Sarah choosing the cheapest option, it just reinforces this idea that she doesn't deserve any better.
Right.
And then it's just plain exhausting, thinking about every penny all the time, constantly weighing if something is worth it. The book calls it decision fatigue, and it's real. It impacts us in ways we don't even realize.
It's true. It's like being on high alert 24/7. No wonder Sarah's so stressed all the time.
Exactly. And then third, and this one, it always hits me hard, is that loss of meaning. When we focus so much on saving money that we forget to, like, invest in experiences, relationships, personal growth, that's where the emptiness creeps in.
It's so true. What's the point of all that money if you aren't living a life that feels, full?
Right. And then, of course, your relationships, like Sarah nearly missing that trip with her friends, all that saving can actually isolate us,
Yeah.
keep us from connecting and having those shared experiences.
Ugh, It's like they say, you can't take it with you. What's the point of being financially secure if you're not sharing your life with people you love?
Exactly. And what I find so interesting is that Lina's story, it shows us a different side of this. So Sarah's fear is all about penny pinching, but Lina's thing, that hardcore budgeting from her upbringing, it might make her miss out on those spontaneous moments, you know?
Oh, that's such a good point. It's not just about saying no to big expenses. It's also about saying yes to those little joys that make life fun, you know?
Yeah.
It's tough to break free from,
Yeah.
right? That scarcity mindset. But, one thing I really like about this book, this childhood unmet needs,
Yeah.
it doesn't just point fingers,
Yeah.
It gives you ways to actually deal with it.
Right.
It's not about some crazy overnight transformation. It's more like shifting how we see things and building better habits.
Absolutely. It's a process.
Totally. And there's this whole part about embracing experiences that really stood out to me. We talked about the bad sides of being too frugal, right? But this feels like the other side of that coin. Instead of constantly saying no to ourselves, how can we say yes to joy, in a way that lines up with what we care about?
I love that. Embracing experiences. It's like it makes you rethink what really matters. It's not about having a bunch of stuff. It's about making memories, having strong relationships, going after the things you're passionate about. That's what really sticks with you.
Yes. It's not about stuff. It's about actually living. It reminds me of that study. I can't remember where I saw it, but it was about how people actually get more happiness from planning a trip than they do from getting a new phone or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
It's the looking forward to it, the excitement, those memories that you keep long after the trip is over.
Exactly. And the thing is, embracing experiences doesn't have to mean spending a ton of money, right?
Right.
It can be simple stuff. Like a picnic in the park, trying a new recipe with your friends, even just setting aside time for a hobby that you love.
It's about being present in those moments instead of always looking ahead to the next big thing, finding the joy in the everyday. They say, the best things in life aren't things.
Well said. And, a lot of times, those simpler, meaningful experiences, they end up mattering way more than anything you could buy.
So true. It makes you realize that financial freedom isn't just about how much money you have. It's about having the freedom to really live your life, connect with people, and just experience everything. This deep dive into childhood unmet needs has really got me thinking.
Me too.
It's definitely made me more aware of my own relationship with money.
And I think what's great is that it gives you tools, right? It doesn't leave you feeling powerless. You can challenge those old beliefs.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, here's something to think about. What's one small experience you can embrace this week that will bring you joy? Doesn't have to be big, just something to remind you that being wealthy is about way more than just money. Until next time, keep diving deep.